It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. And we are zooming in and focusing in today on a very crucial core component topic that comes to understanding and working through some very difficult relationship issues, such as we see with those who are toxic, emotionally manipulative. Those individuals who have a pathological sense of self-importance, a lack of empathy, which means they have an inability to connect with or respect your feelings, your emotions, your viewpoints, your perspective, your wishes, your feelings, or in the state of someone who is antisocial, someone who is sociopathic, psychopathic, who is working just looking like you and me, average Sally, average Joe, but they do not have a conscience. And what can happen either personally or professionally when you're either in a relationship, in a familial situation, or in a workplace with someone who is of this personality disorder. And before we get started, I want to give a huge shout out and much love. Thank you so much for those viewers who have recently donated to the channel and made a contribution. Thank you so much for your contribution and keeping the channel alive. It's viewers like you who keep me inspired to keep the content flowing and let you know that your appreciations are helping to create the community here. And this is a nonprofit, and so this is your contribution comes from such a good place. So thank you so much. And for those viewers who feel I've been a positive influence and impact on your life, absolutely, you can donate at the homepage. There's a little PayPal donate now to help donate to the channel. So thank you so much. Love you so much. And so we're zooming in and focusing in right now on a very key topic, like Dr. Robert Hare in the great book, Snakes in Suits. Dr. Robert Hare is one of the Canadian psychologists who has done really exemplary and profound work in terms of documenting and discussing not only his checklist for identifying those people who are sociopathic, who really, even on the corporate level, who do not have a conscience, and looking at their personality and communication style, and how they really work to exploit the weaknesses of others. So it's that key concept that I want to assist you to zoom in and focus in on today, and to understand one of the key traits is that the malignant narcissist or the sociopath will exploit and take advantage of either your intrapersonal or interpersonal weaknesses. And so when I talk about intrapersonal, that's within yourself, a weakness which is to be human, to feel a desire for a relationship, to be able to, a desire to want to connect with others. That is a genetic, societal, built-in, organic process that you have. In other words, to be able to relate to and connect to others is an adaptive process. And like way in depth in Dr. Martha Stout's book, she talks about, the genetic adaptation of the human species, and why would it be that some have a conscience and some don't. So it's very adaptive to have a conscience, to have a value system, to have feelings, and then to respect this within yourself and within others. So in other words, the desire to have a relationship, to connect, to be true, is an adaptation. It is a positive adaptation for the human species. Yet it is an adaptation which genetically a psychopath or a sociopath does not have. So they don't have that value system. So it gives them the ability to exploit at the macrocosm, which means at the large scale, either in something like a workplace or a corporate structure or a government structure, all those entities. It gives them ability to violate and really snake through the bowels of an individual or an organization and exploit either intrapersonal weaknesses within yourself, So a weakness to them, it might be the need to have a relationship, the need to not feel isolated, the need to not feel lonely, the need for recognition. So that human need, which is not a weakness, but is perceived as a weakness by someone who is malignant in this way, they will exploit that, i.e. take advantage, i.e. turn it against you. And, most people would not be, desiring to do this, because why would you create and wreak havoc and chaos? Also, they are going to exploit and take advantage of interpersonal weaknesses. So an interpersonal weakness for you, excuse me, I need new glasses, I think. I'm having a little bit of trouble with my vision, but it is interpersonal relationships, i.e. they will take advantage of perhaps your tendency to feel jealous, to feel, a little bit paranoid or insecure about yourself, especially as you relate to others. So they will exploit this, meaning they will look at little divots, little minuscule millimeter weaknesses that you might have. So if you're not coming into a relationship or a family or a workplace completely rock solid, secure within yourself, and they are able to tap into this, in other words, they have I don't want to say an extrasensory perception, but they have an ability to perceive others' weaknesses through scoping out people's body language, their communication style. And so they will look at this and then try to mimic you and pattern you, but then play and pit people against one another. So we see the smear campaign. We see the provocative, trying to provoke you to be in a reactive state, to jib-jab you with communication that will be undercutting. And, right when you have your highest degree of trust, there comes the jab within the ribs. There comes the cut within the kneecaps. So if you have experienced this and felt that, you were insecure, or there might be something flawed or inferior about you, I want you to really understand and remove that fear, remove that self-doubt, remove that question, because it is the tendency. This is how they make traction. This is how they expand their presence. This is how they expand their power. This is how, they kick A and take names, not in a positive way, but with a desire to take others down. And to see people falter, to see people freak out, to see people react is like a thrill. It is a sadistic way for them to have an excess of dopamine and be rewarded in this. And, most people would not want to engineer this chaos. Most people would not want to cause others harm. Most people would not want to cause others fear, intimidation, and self-doubt. But this is the operation, operandus moderandi, the OM of someone who is malignant or narcissistic. So in familial systems or workplace systems, this is hugely rampant by these people who have quote unquote, desirable characteristics of like leadership, of management. In other words, they see these people who are ultra confident, but they are too confident. They are too calm. And so if you have identified these people, in other words, we're really getting more on the sociopathic. In other words, when most people would either stop a behavior, or, and by most people, I mean 96%, when people would normally have a reaction, and this person is like stone cold calm, this is a very good indicator that you're dealing with someone who is psychopathic. In other words, there's just a blank lead blanket, stare and gaze, and then they're just thinking of things moving forward. So whereas most people would have a sense of horror or sentient feeling, these people don't feel anything. So they're really calm. I mean, you can tell them that their dog passed away and there's just not a tear shed. You can tell them that, their kids are screaming and crying because they're 3 hours late, and they are, acting as if, they're walking through the tulips. They're just, looking at things like so, or that you have been diagnosed with something, and, they're just sitting back, kind of twiddling their thumbs, kind of looking at you, and kind of plotting their next move or their next target, and then eyeing you out for your weaknesses. So it is this focusing in on what you might feel is a weakness, but is not a weakness. They want you to believe and then really come up against feeling weak. So it's to make you weak. It is a weakening communication strategy through these very covert tactics. So you do, and nowadays, especially those viewers who have been up against this, it's to identify it. So if you have felt weak, defeated, meek, realize that this is a goal of these individuals to make you down. It is not what I would call like the true you. The true you, your organism, your homeostasis, is to be at a state of rest, a state of peace, a positivity, not to be in a chronic state of weakness, fear, or doubt. And so if you've been pitted against another person, if you've had a smear campaign against you where people try to, make you look bad, and then you're getting that butterfly in your stomach or butterfly in your head that, you can't think straight. You develop a traumatic, you're traumatized. And then you're trauma bonded with others. You're not relating in a healthy manner. These are some good areas for you to look at now from the privacy of this video, and to say, okay, I see that this is a targeting mechanism of these individuals to get others down. Don't take it personal. And to get others feeling meek and weak and not being able to think straight and in the fog, so that they can create a larger, more expansive, higher position for themselves, a state of power and authority. So and it's taking away your personal power. So that's why it's the whole goal of this channel is to make you alert to this, think about this, and aware of this, and then to realize that that is how they are going to manipulate and target. And so say, okay, I get it now. I'm stepping out of the way. When the S hits the fan, I am not going to be in the way of the fan. I'm going to step aside. I am not going to have that energetically come upon me. So really, when you understand this, if you've been feeling that weakness, I apologize that you've had to go through this. And I know a lot of viewers have been in this situation for years, 15 years, 10 years, 25 years, where they have battled this chronically on a daily basis, and they didn't know that this was, a reprobation of harm, that, this is a state of harm and not a state of balance. So I want you to feel good about yourself, rekindle your relationship with yourself, and feel on top of the world, and almost as if you can gaze upon the monuments of those who have battled and really worked hard for a cause. So right now I'm thinking of like the Lincoln statue in Washington, and how that was carved, and how he has a great seat and perspective for himself. He's not smiling, he's not frowning, he is just being an exemplary man and leader who has made huge strides of change in the laws, in the rights for people, in freeing of slaves. And so really, it is people who have been working behind the scenes, people like myself and others, viewers, who are stepping up to say, this is no longer happening. And I know a lot of viewers want to say, we need to organize, to unite, things of this nature. It is just to say enough is enough. No longer am I living my life exploited for weaknesses. No longer am I putting, whether consciously or unconsciously, my head under the carpet, my head in the sand. I don't want to live that way. I don't want to feel that I'm, up against this battle on a day-by-day basis. So get an example or feeling within yourself of complete self-respect in that very neutral very indifferent state. And that's really where you begin to reclaim your personal power and stop being victimized and targeted, because then you'll be like a graduate. You'll be able to see, okay, now that we've reviewed in the privacy of this video here through peace and harmony, we've been able to see how they pit and target, or pit us against jealousy when we're not a jealous person. They'll try to find little minuscule areas of you where you are not feeling good about your body, about your history, about where the relationship is going, about your needs for clarity, your needs for truth. So they're making you to feel weak about this. So if you have felt weak with regarding to these needs, I implore you to cast away those feelings of weakness. Do not be made weak by these people, no matter your sex, male, female, skin color, hair color, length of your fingernails, size of your feet, width of your shoulders. It does not matter. And then recognize this to be the cases of how they operate, and then see from this perspective now, just getting a concentration and seeing how maybe you were played for a fool or taken advantage of, and then how this person snaked through and did what they did, and say, okay, now that I know that there are people like this is what they look like, this is how they act, no longer am I going, from here moving forward, being made a victim, being made unconscious, being made unaware, or being, made to feel weak. And from this moment further, I'm going to reclaim my personal strength and emotional sobriety moving forward, that I am not intoxicated by this type of person. I don't desire to be led astray. And now, furthermore, hitherto this, I did not know how I was being led astray, but I see it now in my review and understanding of these people. And so now I'm getting back on track for myself with clarity, and I'm in charge of where it's going. So the path of my journey of my life is going to take a new direction and take me new places and new feelings and new strength. But it has to be like that Lincoln statue, where you're really just kind of rock solid in a new, neutral, indifferent state. In other words, and knowing that you have, stood up for the rights of yourself and others, that you can have an internal sort of calm and security and strength about that. And that becomes knowledge that you are working for values in your life. And once you have an awareness of those values, you know that you're a person of value and that you will not be disturbed in this, that it'll give you the release to be able to move forward in your life for this. Wherever your journey is going to take you, it's going to take you to a better place when you become aware of it. It's kind of, people call it an awakening, but it's knowing the good of who you are, even though it's not reflected back to you from these people, is because that's how, it's the weakening. It's the divot of the body, mind, and spirit, where they seek to get you. So don't be had. Don't fall for the carrot. Don't fall for the sizzle. Know the goodness of who you are, and know it stronger each and every day, because that is what will give you the security. It'll give you the impenetrability of further being victimized by this. So you're not attracting the same problems, the same struggles, the same feelings of being weak on a day in and day basis, feeling made emotionally sick by this. So I hope that these videos do help. It's your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.